decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I know it's early, but there is so much happening. I just wanted to fill you in on a couple of things that was going on yesterday. So yesterday was a municipal labor committee meeting, and unions gathered online to talk about, Harry Nespoli is the chair of the municipal labor committee, president of Sanitation Workers Union. He announced he was retiring. He's been serving the city of New York in various capacities for decades, and it was time. He said he wanted to spend some more time with his family. Everyone gave him congratulations, and he announced he was leaving come May this month, middle of May. I think the end of May 25th. So we know that changes are coming, especially within the municipal labor realm. And that's going to be really important because there's a couple of things within the MLC, as you've heard me educate you, as its original purpose was to staff and fund the Office of Collective Bargaining, which it has not done. That there are severe deficits in staffing on the labor side and the neutrals on the MLC, on the Office of Collective Bargaining Board, and still no one has addressed that. And yet they're doing all these other things. But that's what its main purpose was. There was also something that was very interesting that came out yesterday. And here is an article in the city that came out. Let me go back up to the top. And this article came out in the city, written by Claudia Irizaria-Ponte, that said public sector unions sue City Hall over health savings impasse. As we start to dig into the documents filed in this case by Alan Klinger, I know, of course, you know who Alan Klinger is. He's like the lawyer for all the unions and the MLC. So they filed suit against the city over this healthcare savings debacle. And some of the things that they were saying was, of course, it was almost an admission in some ways that they had met their healthcare savings benchmarks. But one of the things that they were using to fund the stabilization fund was bulldozing all those retirees into a Medicare Advantage plan to achieve a $600 million savings, which, of course, never came to fruition because multiple courts have said it was illegal. So now the city is saying, like, you owe $4 billion, which we know that they don't owe them $4 million. We absolutely know that that's not true, especially in 2022. The city had said and made them take a vote that if they were to implement the negotiated acquisition for the under 65 retirees and the active workers, all non-Medicare people, jam those retirees into Medicare Advantage, try to change the administrative code, that the city would eat the $1 billion debt or so that it had, $1.6 billion debt that it had by that point. And that was like September of 2022. Excuse me. And it also, the city had made an admission that the unions had met their benchmark savings with the two agreements that they had met. But whenever they said we met our savings caps, what they're not saying out loud is how they met that savings. You don't save on healthcare by just saying, well, I'm going to make you a better plan and it's going to be cheaper. These were all backdoor costs that you guys didn't realize you were paying. Every time you got a copay or an increased deductible or a narrower network, or you were a network within a network. So you had the GHI, CBP, PPO, but then if you only use this network of doctors and APNY, then these doctors were a network within a network. If you used them, there was no copay, but if you used everybody else, there was. Well, guess what's coming? And this they want to say is a savings to the city, but it's really passing costs on to you, and more are coming. And we've been saying this now. We've been saying this for 4 years. We said, active workers, you better listen to us because this is coming to you. First, they came after us. You guys weren't paying attention. We told you pay attention. Now it's coming to you. And everything we said within the last 4 years is happening. And I want to show you that because this came out yesterday in some of the documents that the Municipal Labor Committee put into the court docket. You can go up to the regular court docket for you docket watchers. Just go up to the regular New York State court electronic filing system, like you search our cases, and search Municipal Labor Committee, search by date, because this was filed like on the 28th, and you'll find this case. In some of the videos, I'll go back and drop it down in the descriptions or in the first comment. And so that you could find it, but it's really that simple. New York State Court, electronic filing, NYSCEF, and then just put in the search bar, Municipal Labor Committee, search by date, it'll come up, and you can see all of the documents that were filed yesterday. So this was strictly because the city of New York is now saying that they want their money, and this always saying that the unions owed them money, $4 billion, without telling them how and from what. There was no itemized bill, wants them to pay up. And so the union said, well, this isn't happening. There were specific clauses that they had that this was supposed to go to Martin Scheinman. And of course, you've all heard me talk about Martin Scheinman over the years. He is the hand-picked $7,500 a day arbitrator who's supposed to be arbitrating all of these decisions, issues, problems within their negotiated agreements. They literally cite him. Now, this should have been something that went through the Office of Collective Bargaining, but it didn't. Every time there were issues with this program, it was to go to Martin Scheinman rather than go to OCB. This was the reason why the MLC exists, was to staff and fund the Municipal Labor Committee's Office of Collective Bargaining. They were both founded around the same time. Their documents actually say that the Municipal Labor Committee was founded to do this. That's what its one goal was for. Not negotiating. The Municipal Labor Committee does not have a bargaining certificate. And what they're not telling the leadership of the MLC is not telling the unions that participate or are members, which they all pay a dues every year per member, that they're not saying that the Municipal Labor Committee does not have a bargaining certificate and should not be bargaining or negotiating, but they operate as a coalition. And the mere fact that whenever a union casts a vote, when they call a vote, then they're conveying their bargaining power to the Municipal Labor Committee as a coalition. I've been trying to wake up the active worker leadership on this, and they're just not biting. I don't know why, but this is where this got them. This is why it is really important to have a very strong labor law history and knowing that the history of the city of New York, which they don't have. And that's a problem because this is where it got them, right? So I want to start to show you some of the documents that came out yesterday in the Municipal Labor Committee. This one here is a memo that was to all municipal leaders. It's got some typos in it, but we're going to kind of move past that. And I'm just going to start to pull out some of my highlights like I usually do, just to draw attention to some of the issues. So this is where they're talking about trying times for the country, of course, for the way decisions are coming out of Washington, treating unions, especially on the federal level, and that they're in the middle of this negotiated acquisition process, which what their goal was to improve their premium-free healthcare despite the difficult times that they're facing. Now, I always want you to say there's specific trigger words from me. Whenever you hear Michael Mulgrew, Henry Garrido, Alan Klinger, any of the union leaders start going, premium-free, high-quality healthcare. Well, I want you to always watch value-based. That's another one that definitely makes me nuts because this tells me that these are all insurance trigger words. I mean, yesterday, Henry Garrido was literally quoting the Citizens Budget Commission that they were bending the curve, which is their words. You heard Whitney Tilson say that at our debate on the 17th, that the unions are bending the curve in healthcare. That is directly out of the Citizens Budget Commission reports. So This disturbs me because they're not acting like union leaders. So here in this document, they want to improve their premium-free healthcare, which we know, we've been saying all along, that they're passing backdoor premiums in the form of copays and deductibles. People think those copays and deductibles are being assessed by the insurance company. They're not. And actually, in some of the documents that were filed by the unions in the court filing yesterday, 2 days ago, show that the process was the city and the MLC make these agreements and they are implemented by the insurance company. And that is powerful because people keep thinking that it's the insurance company doing it, and it's not. So he says they're nearing the completion of step 2 of the negotiated acquisition process to select a vendor for a successor plan to the current GHI comprehensive benefit plan, presently administered by a combination of Emblem for Medical and Anthem, formerly Blue Cross Blue Shield for Hospital. As you've been advised, the 2 finalists with the best plans to improve our healthcare were a joint venture with Emblem and United and Aetna. Remember, this is for the non-Medicare people, active workers, under 65 retirees. They've recently submitted revised bids for the contract, and the negotiated acquisition evaluation committee, comprised of 5 representatives, each of the MLC and the city, received presentations by the finalists earlier this month. Highlight. Here you go. The members of the evaluation committee and the respective consultants, those same smart people that told them they should do Medicare Advantage, have each signed non-disclosure agreements required by the procurement process as to the specifics of the bids. Follow-up questions are being issued to the bidders, and we anticipate responses soon. Whether additional sessions are needed will be assessed following the review of these submissions. A quick reminder of the steps of the process while we start accepting bids, which are narrowed down to the finalists who offer the biggest healthcare improvements. Remember, they were forced to save 10% in this deal. So 10% of a reduction in cost to the city of New York. You just think where that's going to come from while I read you some of these highlights. So step 2, we choose a finalist that offers that with the most to offer and begin negotiation process. Step 3 involves the negotiation of the actual terms of the contract. Step 4, allow all unions to vote on the negotiated plan after members have been informed and engaged. Now, anyone listening to me on this, step 4 is going to be huge because you know already what the weighted voting structure is of the MLC. If the UFT and DC 37 vote one way, it's a done deal for all the other 100 unions behind them. This is where it's important that this process gets slowed down, that union leaders, when they're presented with this, union members have to demand to know this process. You have to have a say in this, not just your union leader. This is a mandatory subject of bargaining. You need to know and make sure they tell you what the choices are so that your union president can cast a vote in this process. And they should be whipping the vote, especially if they're not being told something, because the next part is even more concerning, and I'll get to that. Steps 5 and 6 center on education and implementation, making sure no improved plan is implemented until all parties understand the nuances of the full plan, because that's where the unions and the city and the insurance companies all screwed up with the rollout that they did with us. It wasn't on the insurance company. It was that not even the union leaders that voted on this ever saw the contract. They didn't know the nuance. They didn't see the small print. They never saw the contract. As stated above, we're nearing the completion of step 2. Here we go. The fundamental nature of the current healthcare program will not change. That worries me because the way they've been treating healthcare is extremely concerning. We are looking to improve our benefits. The goal is to modernize, streamline, and expand access to providers and find efficiencies in the program. Almost sounds like a Doge. It will allow us to test the market to see if there are vendors who would provide a better program for our members. Not quite sure what that means. How is it going to test the market if you're going to choose another vendor to replace the GHI CVP plan? Again, no details. Also, we have also talked about many MLC meetings, some provider partners, particularly hospitals have gamed the system to the detriment of our programs. Refreshing the program will modernize it and encourage providers to be both efficient and cost effective. It was also designed to explore tools for reining in that behavior. Now, that's problematic because to me, that spells punitive. And I'm not happy about that, because that shows that there's been times like when they wanted to change your behavior. You heard, I have to find this video again, Claire Levitt testify before City Council, and um, she said we implemented behavior modification or something where they increased the copays on ER visits to prevent you from going to the hospital. That's a penalty, because if you're on a small income and you're now going to have to pay $300 to go to the ER when you really need it, that is a problem, especially for people who can't afford it. So why would you do something like that as a deterrent? But now I'm going to start to show you some more of their ill-advised thinking from, I guess, all their smart men in the room that were making some of these decisions. I am assuming from whoever these consultants were that they hired. So back to the highlights, because there's plenty of them. Some important reminders. Here, I even made a red line. We are not changing the type of plan. Now, they've always created this PPO was always a preferred provider organization. It was a large, vast network, but we know over the decades that the PPO has started to become narrower and narrower and narrower. And the reasons why is because what the MLC negotiated with the city of New York, the reimbursements have stayed the same since like 1983. The requirements for prior authorization became more burdensome. It started to look like managed care for many doctors. So they didn't want to be bothered with this when this used to be a more opened plan. So every time the unions go back to the bargaining table and they take more out of their healthcare, this is what happens. It's not the healthcare plan that sucked. It was created to suck, and it was created to suck by the MLC, where the unions kept putting all of these barriers into the actual healthcare providers that they didn't even want to be part of this anymore. Here's another key. The bids were solicited and submissions were made on both the current plan construct and an optional tiered network. Again, no details. I'm going to tell you these are the same words that they used with the Medicare Advantage plan. We told them to design a Medicare Advantage plan that was based on the senior care. No, they didn't actually do that. They created a narrow network with prior authorization. That's not what senior care was. They completely changed it and they lied about it. So red flag here, and I even underlined that. It says the negotiated acquisition calls for a proposed tiering structure. Again, that actually should have a red line. A proposed tiering structure with the current plan and costing functioning as a tier 2. Again, vague and confusing. Note that the tiering construct was included in a manner that is optional. Guess what that means, guys? That means that they're going to do in some of those notes, as we showed you from 2018, where it said if you went to HHC hospitals, there was no copays. But if you went to all these hospitals, there would be a higher copay. And if you went to Columbia Presbyterian or NYU, you'd have to probably give them your right arm and your firstborn. The tiering construct was included in the matter as optional. It has not been discussed or agreed upon yet, for that is subject to collective bargaining, as are the levels of copays, which we will strive to keep as constant as possible. You got it? Like, I have been saying this for 4 years. They are coming after you. They're doing it now. You can't save 10%, create a better plan, create a vast network, and not charge you. But the plan will be premium free, he says. Members will not have to contribute to the premium for the program. We are one of the few large group nationwide that continue to have the option for quality premium free care. Now, they keep saying that, and I want to tell you there is a large number, and I'm going to dig out that Kaiser Family Foundation study, I believe it was from, that shows exactly how many municipalities around the country still offer them. And it was more like Henry last year said they were the only one. That's a lie. They're not. There's a larger number. And I want to say it was like 25, but I believe it might be higher. Let me go look for that fact, and then I will come back and I will make sure I update you. Options will remain, they say. Members will maintain the ability to participate in other offered healthcare plans, whether it be the HIP, HMO, or other PPO plans. Now, they also don't tell you what the costs are going to be for any of those other PPOs. By the way, my Brooklyn Breakfast Club firefighters, thank you. I truly appreciate you. Our goal is a better network, especially out of area, and I'm sure that will be great news for all retirees that live out of the New York metro area. Both bids offer networks where providers will overwhelmingly match existing providers with significant increases in mental health professionals, a major need. Okay, here's another red line. I'm going to have to highlight this because this is the same language that they used in the Medicare Advantage plan. In the Medicare Advantage plan, they said, and I bet you that I'm going to find that somewhere down here. It says networks where providers will overwhelmingly match existing providers. That means that they're trying to create a network by using whatever utilization. They can go to your report, all your medical bills, and look at the doctors you're currently using. And that's what they told us. They told us was, don't worry, Michael Mogler said, we're going to give you a plan that has more than 95% of doctors that you currently, that you currently see are in the plan. Well, doctors that you currently see when you're younger may not be a bad thing, but doctors that you currently see when you're older becomes a little bit more of a problem, because as you get older and you get more health issues, you need more doctors. And if they're not in your network, that becomes a larger issue. So let's continue on. The mental health professionals is huge because the city and the unions have downplayed that. They have not recognized that as a need. It says recognizing a similar need to bolster the level of in-network providers for those living outside the New York metropolitan area. We made that a major focus of the NA. We will now have, for the first time, a truly national network where professional providers access in network will encompass some 95% of those providers currently used by our out of area members, of particular benefit to our non-Medicare retirees living in other parts of the country. And that's been a big problem. And I will tell you, though, going back to, I want to say it was 2005, the unions have the ability to pay a $3 million network fee per region to add these other regions where there's large clusters of retirees, and they never did it because that $3 million a year was supposed to come out per region out of the stabilization fund, and they did not want to use that money for that. Members will have access to present hospital networks. Members will not be forced to use only one or even select from just a few area hospitals. The negotiated acquisition and bids contemplate current hospital networks remaining as options premised on hospital networks acting responsibly in their pricing. So now what you have to know is that if it is perceived by whoever's making these decisions in the MLC and the city that a hospital is a bad actor, either they're going to go out of network or charge you a higher copay like they did with your Urgy Cares. It says we are seeking a city-only costing model to control the pricing. And what does that mean? We are seeking a city-only costing model. That means HHC hospitals are in network and everybody is not. So if you go to HHC, I would guarantee you my paycheck, my pension check. That's exactly what that means. We are seeking a city-only costing model to control the pricing. It is possible, depending on negotiations, that some hospital networks may be preferred and will see lower than current copays. And if a hospital network proves to be a bad actor, we may see adverse action taken. Our hope and belief is that at the end of the day, no hospital is going to want to see itself disfavored in member choices and act responsibly. Here's the last kick in the head. The MLC has the last word, and we all know basically exactly how that has gone over the years. So everything we've said is coming true. I mean, I can't stress this enough to all of you. This was, I mean, they actually told it just like it is. Now, the last thing I want to add in here is this the one? Yeah. So here, of course, this was like directly out of like Henry Garrido's book. There have been significant disinformation swirling around possible state legislation affect a smoothing of the pension. You heard me talk about this pension smoothing thing. Michael Mulgrew was actually supporting it. We know Henry Garrido was supporting it. Then all of a sudden, Henry said, no, I'm not for this. I'm not doing it. And Michael Mulgrew was still pushing it because he believed it was a good thing. And then up until the very last minute, they pulled back. You guys did that campaign to educate the state elected that this wasn't a good deal. And then you heard Brad Lander, sitting comptroller, in a sworn testimony before the New York City Council, being questioned by Justin Brannan, who is the sitting budget chair, and questioned him about this. And it was revealed that not the city council nor the sitting comptroller supported this pension smoothing and extending those pension payments. None of us ever said the unions were taking money, or the city was taking money out of the pension payments. We all said that they were re-amortizing it, like refinancing a mortgage, refinancing it and extending those payments, which would cost the city more. But the savings that they were not paying in by extending those payments, look, if you've refinanced a loan before, you know what that does. It will reduce your cost because it extends out your payments and you're paying more interest. And they were paying more interest by doing that. We had that looked at not just by people that were on Substack, but we had it looked by pension experts, former city retirees who are in our organization, who worked for NICERS or who worked in OMB. And they said, no, there's no reason to do this at this time. It also was key that the uniformed unions, the fire and police pension systems, were not included in this. They were asked, they declined. And it was just the two unions, the UFT and DC 37, who are TRS, Teachers Retirement System, BERS, Board of Education Retirement System, and NICERS, New York City Employees Retirement System, all your civilians. Because those are the two largest unions that got everybody mixed up into this crazy healthcare mishigas that created the problem that we're still in today and put the unions to have to sue the city of New York, right? So to try to drive their point home, that's the wrong file, they went to the city actuary and they said, hey, do us a re-amortization letter. Let's tell everybody how great this is. Well, when you look at this document, what's missing is these were some of the supporting things of it, but he didn't put the risks to it, right? The risks are what is at issue. So in here, one of the things Mulgrew had said was that these groups that are talking about this, they're all wrong. They're saying it threatens pensions for retirees. Okay, remember, I have to keep telling you to watch the nuanced language. We're saying that for future retirees. We know current pensions for current retirees are protected. And they don't even answer that question. It says, I'm a retiree. Does this bill impact my benefits? We've said that answer is no. The bill does not impact your benefits. Benefits are constitutionally protected and cannot be reduced. But here's the deal. It would impact potentially a future retiree's benefit, those who are not yet retired. And the day that they made the announcement about this, all of a sudden what was happening in Washington was affecting Wall Street, and the stock market's been doing this, right? If you've been looking at your investments, you understand what I'm talking about. This is not the time to be doing that. Keep the city on track to be paying its futures, because if once we fully fund our pension system, then we'd be able to fully fund our healthcare. And then no union would be in this space where they would be doing this. So I want to wrap this up. It's 30 minutes. I want to thank you for listening. Everything that we've been saying is truthful. We can cite it, source it, document it. I will find a way to drop all of these documents, or at least in our website, if not in our YouTube channel, because I can't get it right now. This is going into Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and I think that's it. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. But on my main YouTube channel, in the description, I will find a way to link all of these documents. If I have to put it in one file and link you one PDF, I want you to see what was given to your union leaders, if you're an active person yesterday, to your union leaders. For the retirees, I'm sure you're familiar with looking at these documents as they get sent to us. We will share them with you. But it's super important that you start to watch, because as this starts to roll, get ready, because they are going to pass costs on to you. They're still going to tell you it's premium free. And what you need to start watching is it copay free, or how fast are those deductibles are going up, or how fast those copays are going up. Stephen, you don't have to have Facebook. This is live streamed on YouTube. You're watching it on YouTube right now. I can see the little YouTube icon next to you. So this will be permanently on our YouTube live channel. And in the description later, I will get these documents that I'm showing you as a PDF. Now, this document, this website, the city, if you Google the city, this is where you can find the article on that the public sector unions sued the city of New York. So go to their website, but the documents I will put in the description on the YouTube channel where you are currently watching me right now. So let's see. How Brian says, how did the active workers think they could screw us without screwing themselves? You know, Brian, I'm going to say to you, I don't think they see themselves as us. They see themselves, it's us versus them. I'm going to be putting up a video really soon so that you could see exactly what they say about retirees. It's ugly. It also shows that appears that they have some city council members in their pocket. And I'm going to expose all of that. And I probably need another day to do that. But we're working on getting more information, and I'm being given audio all the time. It's just a matter of listening to it, vetting it, and then putting it together in something that's watchable. And sometimes the audio that we get is really bad and it's really not audible. So then I have to go back in and put it to captions so that you can hear what it says. And if it's not usable at all and it's unintelligible, I can't use it. But I mean, people are trying to share with us because they're fearful of sharing it on their own. But the union members that are privy to some of these conversations want the message out to know that, what's absolutely happening, but that they can't expose it on their own. So bear with me. If I can get it out this afternoon, I will. And if I can't, it'll get out tomorrow. But Jazz Snare, power corrupts. I want union positions to be reduced so that only those who want to serve others want the job. Plato's Republic. Otherwise, oligarchy. Well, so Jazz Snare, what I'm going to say about that is this is where it's important. I don't want to reduce their jobs or their positions. What I want to do is make sure that their members feel empowered to do something about it. The members are the union, not the leadership. And if the leadership falls corrupt, like the UFT or DC 37, it is literally up to the members and the leaders around them to hold them correct. And if they don't, they need to go. Why does Henry Garrido keep getting reelected and all of his executive board keep doing what Henry wants? It's because they get paid a hefty stipend to do what Henry wants. If they weren't getting paid that with your union dues, by the way, I would tell you then things might be a little different. Most of them are paper tigers, but people still know them to be the tiger. As I'm starting to look through some of their financial reports, I'm finding them in deficits, major $1 million deficits. How do you run an organization in a deficit? Sometimes there's things that you have to do, maybe adjust your salaries. I mean, look, none of us in our organization get paid. I would love to get paid. It would definitely help the expenses that I have in fighting all of this. Every time I have to go back up to New York to do something, I have to board my dogs and I don't get reimbursed for that, right? I have to have someone, if I'm gone for a week, they have to mow my grass. It becomes a financial hardship, and my pension is small. I've always said my pension's a $35,000 pension. So it is a struggle to make things happen, but hey, they're a large behemoth union with multiple organizations underneath them. Maybe you don't need some of these umbrella groups. Like, does the MLC really need to exist? Does the AFL-CIO or AFSCME really need to exist? If the unions themselves were strong, What is AFSCME really doing for me? I can never understand that in all of my years of service. And then here in the DC-37 world, you have AFSCME literally penalizing the elected retirees that were volunteers running a retiree chapter because that chapter, according to the Constitution, is subordinate to the union. The UFT's retiree chapter is subordinate to their union. TWU's retiree chapter is subordinate to their union, which means the union controls the retiree. It shouldn't be that way. The reason the retirees are not in the union is because they cannot be in the union by law. They materially have different needs. But as we've seen, the Municipal Labor Committee, under the leadership of Henry, Harry, and Michael, have leveraged all the other unions around them, 100, and all of the retirees citywide to finance their contracts. So listen, guys, this will stay on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it. It will be under the live. I will download it later and upload it to videos, because many of you don't realize we have videos, we have shorts, and we have lives. Please, if you like what you're watching from our channel, click like and click subscribe. That way, every time we put something up, you will get notified and you can go back and watch it. If you don't see the video under videos, click live tab and you will see these videos under lives. Sometimes I just don't remember to go back, download it, and upload it back into the other side. So thank you very much. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and we'll bring you more information about that litigation that the unions filed on the 28th as soon as we're done going through all the documents. Stay aware of what's happening around you. And of course, you can see my little ticker down at the bottom. If you are UFT, please make sure you vote for a better contract in the UFT election. Ballots come out today. Have a great morning, everybody.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the